Chapter 2: The Beauty of Music. Before we begin, have you ever got a chance to see and experience a classical music concert? Do you like listening to any piece of classical music? Classical music is a symbol of a country's or region's culture, language, and tradition. To understand and enjoy classical music, one needs to be receptive about it. Let's read how the narrator of the story develops a liking to the classical music in a brief meeting with Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, 1879 to 1955, was a German-born theoretical physicist. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. His work is also known for its influence on the philosophy of science. This story is about the chance meeting of the narrator with Einstein. When I was a very young man, I was invited to dine at the house of a very rich and powerful businessman. After a wonderful dinner, our hostess took us to a large drawing room. "I am going to arrange the chairs for a concert," our hostess said. "We are going to listen to a very good pianist." Unlike others present there, I was not happy. I did not understand classical music. I thought I was tone deaf. I sat down so that I would not be impolite and waited for the concert to begin. I did not pay attention to the music after it began. After a while, I heard everyone clapping, so I realized that the piece was over. Just then I heard a gentle but firm voice saying, "Are you fond of Bach?" I knew as much about Bach as I did about nuclear physics. I turned in order to look at my neighbor, and I saw a very famous face. It was someone with a shock of white hair and a pipe. I knew that I must tell this man the truth. He looked at me as if my answer was very important. "I do not know anything about Bach," I said. "I have never heard any of his music." He looked surprised and asked, "Have you never heard of Bach?" He made it sound as if I had said that I had never taken a bath. "I would like to understand music so that I could understand Bach," I said, "but I am not able to. I am tone deaf." The old man got up. "Will you come up with me?" he asked. I just remained seated. "I am requesting you to come with me," he said again. So I went up with him. He took me to a room which had a gramophone in it and asked, "What kind of music do you like?" "Well," I answered, "I like songs which have words and the kind of music where I can follow the tune." He smiled and nodded, obviously pleased. "Can you give me an example, please?" I told him I liked anything by Bing Crosby. At once, I could hear Bing Crosby's voice filling the room. "Now can you please tell me what you just heard?" he said. The simplest answer seemed to be to sing the lines. So I sang it back to him. He smiled. "You are not tone deaf," he said. I told him this was one of my favorite songs, which I had heard hundreds of times. So it did not really prove anything. Einstein said, "It proves everything." Do you remember your first arithmetic lesson in school? Suppose at your very first contact with numbers, your teacher had ordered you to work out a problem in, say, long division or fractions. Could you have done it? No, of course not. Exactly. Music is like learning maths. You have to learn addition and subtraction in order to do multiplication and division. Now I am playing something a little more advanced. It was The Trumpeter by John McCormack. "Sing that back," he ordered, and we went on from one level to a higher level until he was playing just music without words. I was amazed that this great man was paying complete attention to me so that I could learn something new. It was as if I was the most important person in his world. Suddenly, he got up and turned off the gramophone. "Now, young man," he said, "we are ready to listen to Bach." We went down and sat in the hall. "Just allow yourself to listen," he advised. "I have heard that piece many times since that day, but I am never alone. I am sitting beside a small man with a shock of untidy hair, and a pipe in his mouth. When the concert ended, I too was able to clap sincerely. Our hostess came towards us. We both stood up. "I am so sorry, Dr. Einstein," she said, giving me a cold look, "that you missed so much." "I am sorry too," he said. "My young friend here and I, however, were engaged in the greatest activity of which a human being is capable." She looked puzzled. "Really?" she said. "And what is that?" Einstein smiled and put his arm across my shoulders, opening up the frontiers of beauty.